Hi, it's Pouyan from GBC Live. So today we have Marco Stagliano here. He's the head of operation of Angelvest. We want to talk about STO, security token offering. So we want to have a brief introduction first, then we go through some questions about this topic. Marco, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mars, for hosting me here. And as you said, Marco Stagliano, head of operation of Angelvest. Brief introduction. I'm a corporate finance and M&A professional. I've been working in the capital markets as well for around 10 years. And then I moved here in Shanghai looking for cross-border M&A as well. And then I joined Angelvest and blockchain world around 2 years ago. And I could never help myself to get out this loop because it's very exciting. So here we are discussing about STO.
Awesome. Yeah, we want to have some question about STO and what STO is and what is happening in this crazy market. So what is STO?
Okay, so STO, the acronym is for Security Token Offering. Security token is a kind of, let's say, token that is connected to the blockchain. But the difference between STO, main difference between STO and ICO is essentially that with the STO, you don't really need to have any corner to blockchain. Yeah. So blockchain is essentially a tool that you use to fundraise. Yeah. So that's why it's becoming a new trend. Because back in times, 2016, 2017, a lot of projects, they had, they were trying to issue an ICO. Yeah. But just for funding their project, but they didn't have any corner on blockchain. So there were a lot of companies were struggling to get any kind of corner on blockchain and to express and justify that they need blockchain, but actually didn't. 90% of the company actually that issued an ICO. With STO is different because STO is like a part of it pertains more on the profitability of the business. So if the business is profitable, if the business generates revenues, then you're going to have a profit that is going to be a revenue share, a profit, a dividend, whatever it takes, whatever is decided by who frame the who make the framework of the security token. So in order to have a return on your investment. This is the main topic of the STO.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are coming from the area of ICOs and they've been very excited because of ICO and they could have funds through ICO XYZ, you know. Then STO came. However, the STO, the name was like since 3 years ago, but nobody would care what STO is. Since the time that they said, okay, ICO stopped, the market was going down and suddenly SEC came up with the new rules and regulation about STO and said, so STO is fine in terms of XYZ. And then the market was going down and in the same time, the STO thing came up through SEC and it made like the move to the down of ICOs faster. Like, how is it? Is it ICO similar to STO, or they're completely different? And is it the same responsibility behind both, or they're different? How it is? Can you just explain to us?
Sure, absolutely. So to understand better what happened with the ICO market, we have to go back around October, November 2017. So there was the hype of the Bitcoin and all cryptocurrency, and the market cap reached almost $600 billion value. Yeah, right now is around 180, 200.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like
went down.
Yeah, it was a big hype, and a lot of companies were issuing ICOs just to serve the wave of the hype, and to make money. Because actually what happened is that there was a wealth that was created from nothing. Yeah. So everyone that was buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum, or exchanging Ethereum, or holding Ethereum or Bitcoin, they suddenly had a source of wealth, and they were investing in other projects. So it's like a kind of double up.
Yeah.
It's like issuing a derivatives of a derivatives, and you create wealth from nothing. So this is what happened during the hype. It was like doubling, tripling up the value, but actually coming from nothing. That's why there was the crash on January. So after the crash on November, actually there was another bad news for the crypto market. Is China banned the ICO.
Yeah.
And that made a big crash. That big effect was the effect was really negative for the market.
Yeah.
And then follow Korea and Japan, and those were the countries where people, let's say, they were more into gambling, into the crypto world, and where the most of the money coming from. So this was the beginning of the decline of the ICO. So what's the difference between ICO and STO? Of course, let's say if the issuer is legit, the investors should be safe in both ways, ICO or STO. The main difference is if you're gonna issue an ICO, it's like let's assume I have a supermarket and I issue 1 million of loyalty card, sorry. So I charge $5 for each loyalty card.
Yeah.
But then the people that buy the loyalty card, they're not buying a piece of my supermarket. They're just buying a loyalty card that will give access to discount. This is utility token. So what's the problem? If I never open the supermarket, nobody can blame me. Nobody can suit me because I didn't open the supermarket. Because the loyalty card issuance was separated from the opening of the supermarket. So this was the main problem of the ICO, because company, they weren't showing even a business plan, numbers, financials, sustainability of the business. So let's say making hundreds of ICOs, 90 let's say 90 failed. 90% failed in 2000.
Isn't it more?
In 2018. And of 90% failed, let's say maybe 30%, 40% were scam. Other 40% just they couldn't deliver the product, and 10% maybe they didn't have the right skill to make the business happen. So that's the main point also. Not only the product, the project, but also the team. When we talk about STO, is different, because STO is actually a monetization of what is your business plan, what is your financial forecast, what is your expected source of revenues. So you focus more on the revenues, on the return, on financial, on numbers.
Dividends.
Yeah, dividends.
What kind of dividends?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's more similar to an IPO, because when you fill an information memorandum for the IPO, you need to explain all about your business, and it's not just a bunch of words on a white paper that doesn't explain really in depth an in-depth description of what's your business.
So ICO versus STO. So now, STO thing is, if we want to have a kind of metaphor, let's say in that way, that we have a share in the company, but you cannot exchange your share in the company with others, or you cannot exchange a stock share even in the exchange market, unless you give some fiat money. You buy that share, if it goes up, if it goes down, whatever it is, and you go through some proper brokerage companies and so on, and you buy, sell, and so on. But you cannot use the security token to buy a service. I cannot say to that marketing agency, hey, give us kind of, I don't know, digital marketing services and so on, then we will pay you by our security token. Has it happened to anybody that's saying, okay, we're gonna give you some shares if you give this kind or provide these kind of services to us? Because what we are seeing here now, people they are still thinking that okay, like utility token which coming from ICOs and security token, they think that still we can have that craziness, creativity, flexibility, buying services through that exchanging these token with a lot of things out there, out of the platforms that you have. So, but I don't think the only difference I think that it's bringing is that for buying like shares in exchange, stock exchange market, you have to, for your company, if you want to sell your shares, you have to have your IPO done, and having your IPO done, a lot of process. But for ICO, for STO, you don't need to have all those processes, due diligence, XYZ, and so on, high transaction of your businesses, and having a high cash flow, XYZ, all those criteria are not required. Am I right?
Let's say partially right, as to right now, if you issue an STO in the US, you have to comply to the SEC regulation. So you need to fill an let's call it an information memorandum. You have some criteria. You need to have an advisor, a nominated advisor that is accredited in the SEC, and you have to follow a procedural step that is much more easy than an IPO, less costly, but still it's let's say it doesn't give you the flexibility and the
as you are in ICO.
Yeah, it's different, but it has one sense, because I think on the one side, the ICO, of course, is less trustable, it's less secure. But the point is, the leverage of the ICO is the community. So if you take a project, and a project that is good on paper, but to be live, it needs a community. It needs like 2 million people, 5 million people. The only way you engage people is the utility token. Why? Because you create the demand, you create a service, you engage them in your ecosystem, you create your ecosystem. Then after you're doing that and you create your ecosystem, then maybe you can do an STO, and that's called double issuance. So you match both things, and you take the good part of the ICO, the community, and the good part of the STO, that is the reliability. Let's call it reliability of the business. So the point is that the value increase on one side with the ICO, the value increase at the increasing of the community. The more people use your coin or your utility token, the more people are engaged and live and be engaged in the community, in the ecosystem, the more valuable is your ecosystem. Thus, the more valuable is your token. On the other way, the more profitable is your business, the more profitable is your security token. But the two things can be combined together in an efficient world.
So you mentioned dual issuance of tokens. So like in dual issuance, it's supposed to be first STO or ICO, or supposed to be ICO first or STO?
It depends. It really depends on the type of the project. Well, let's say if you ask me as a suggestion, I will tell you right now, start with the STO. And then do an ICO, because the market is bearing and people are more confident with STO. So getting funds with the ICO right now is really difficult. I've been seeing a couple of projects, valid project, really valid project, but what's happening now is a lot of companies are willing to sell equity. before instead they were selling. They were happy. They were selling token. Nobody. They don't have to give any accountability on their behavior or what they do. They can spend 5 million buying Lambos, real estate, vacation, or whatever. Nobody could say anything.
We could say anything, and also they couldn't have control on
Yeah,
that.
they couldn't have control. Security token is the same. They cannot have control, but you have to stick to your plan, and you have some certain barriers.
A lot of scams happen in ICOs, but in STOs, I don't think that a scam can happen easier than ICOs.
Well, I'm telling you, I've been, as I said, I work in capital markets.
Yeah.
I've been seeing scam in the last 10 years with listed company.
Yeah.
So anything can happen.
A scam can happen for any form of businesses, either companies or ICOs or STOs.
Yeah, but it's less likely.
Less.
Let's say that it's less likely with the STO.
So another thing that you're saying that in terms of community, in STO you cannot have that community. Is that what you are saying?
You're not creating a community at all.
Because you don't need community.
You don't need community. As I said, with STO you don't need community. You don't need blockchain. So it's just a tool for funding.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, in a legal aspect, if you do STO, then you go for ICO. But it assumes that ICO is not legal anymore.
Well,
and if you combine these,
let's
together,
say what I will do is I will do an STO, and then I will airdrop freely my utility token. Mm-hmm. So I won't speculate on my utility token, but I will still issue utility token to create a community. For example, for us, Angelvest, we're a community of angel investors. Yeah. So we're based. Our source of power is numbers of members. Yeah. So the wider is the community, the more powerful is our network.
So how the community out of the airdropping then is going to be used kind of for free, then how the community can benefit from this?
Depending on from project to project, it really depends. Let's say that let's talk about tokenization of assets. Yeah. Also.
Like a building.
Yeah, like a building. Yeah. So what could happen is I can tokenize the building, and then I can issue a utility token for company. Let's say this is an office building to rent and pay the rent of the office space. Mm-hmm. This could be a use case for a utility token that was airdropped. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing is happening right now in the market. As I said, a lot of company invest in equity. Make an example. T0 is a blockchain exchange, a STO exchange platform. Yeah. They made an STO, was pretty successful. They raised 400 million round. Valuation is
$400 million.
Yes, and valuation is almost around 1.5 billion. So what they did, they be invested by GSR Capital as a Chinese venture capital. Nice. But the fund decided to buy equity. Mm-hmm. Together with equity, they bought 30 million of security token. Nice. So this is what's happening right now.
You mentioned the exchange platform for security, because security tokens, if you want to have STOs, so having those STO and issuing all those tokens have to be part of that goes for the private sales XYZ. But another part, which is going to be public issuance, have to be done through exchange platforms. How many security token exchange platforms we have?
Well, currently, last I saw was November 2018, and there were a little bit more than 20 exchange platforms registered. 20, yes.
And they're all legit, means they're all...
Yeah, some of them, as T0, as I said, is not yet working, that I know. But other big players like Wobi, Binance, Coinbase, they're switching. They're switching also, or opening a next security token
Or they
exchange.
have parallelly both?
Parallel, yeah.
Like
Parallel both, yeah, of course, because the main,
Binance as well,
yeah, the main business is cryptocurrency. ICO will slowly decline, and I think there will be like a partial, a proportional part of the exchange will cover the ICO, but the more will cover the STO.
So how would it be if people or crypto investors, they can buy, I don't know, security tokens from those exchange platforms, buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other coins?
Yeah, the easier thing is as it is happening with other token or with the cryptocurrency. The main the base is fiat or Bitcoin. Sometimes they accept also Ethereum, but anytime you have to divest or cash out any token or cryptocurrency that you have, you always have to pass through Ethereum or Bitcoin. So exchanging and then cash out. Yes. So I think it will work in the same way for the near future. But what I hope it will be in the future, maybe in 3-5 years, is that there will be more liquidity on the market, so you can exchange directly, or maybe there will be like a pool of 4 or 5 companies that issue a kind of coin that is used for investing in security token. This could be, I don't know, Polymath, for example, that is a security token factory, or also Securitize is another project to, let's say, industrialize the issuance of security tokens. So if those companies can be able to group, I don't know, 100 projects, 200 projects, then they can create their kind of small stock exchange in secondary markets.
STO, like if anybody wants to, or any company wants to do their own STOs, where is the best place? I mean, you're not talking about China for sure. You're talking about other countries. As SEC, like in USA, has passed a lot of rules in terms of STOs, XYZ. So how would it be? USA or other Singapore?
Well, let's say that if you want to be fast, I would suggest USA, just because it's already regulated. It's a little bit pricey.
And investors kind of feel comfortable to get in.
Yes. Let's say that this is more mature markets, even though it's a trend of 2018. Actually, when I was in Consensus in New York in May 2018, the STO were a big topic, and everybody was so excited about STO. But I'll tell you, in November 2017, when I was in Singapore for the block show, nobody was talking about STO because there was the hype of the crypto world. So I would say US is the safest choice. I personally would suggest to try to leverage those countries like Malta or Estonia. They are really crypto friendly, but where the legislation is still not cover the STO. So you can work with the government, and you can be the first one. So you can have the market effect also on issuing the first STO in Malta, Estonia, whatever, and that is really an interesting play, let's say, because you can get a lot of traction also from this point and some advantage. But I talk about Estonia because it's one of the option that with Angelvest we were we were thinking if we issue an STO. And
go dual issuance, or you want to go just for one?
Well, right now we're still just deciding. But probably, as I said, for the reason before, it will be a dual issuance because we need community. We need to build our community and enlarge our community. But Estonia, for example, we were talking with our lawyers, and the lawyer says right now, if you raise more than €2 million, you're subject to the discipline of the public solicitation.
Yeah.
So you need to be an accredited financial institution, or you don't have to sell, to contact more than 100 subjects. So it's this is the problem. If the legislation is not clear, then you have to work on let's say you have to work on the procedures and everything, but you have to be really careful on that.
So have we had any company from ICO, which they've done ICOs? Now they are going to IPO, I don't think.
No, but I got another thing. I got a listed company.
But they
issue an ICO. This is an interesting product.
It didn't affect, I mean, legally, from legal perspective, it didn't affect.
Yes, it affects. It was
Really?
yeah. It was an issuance made in Japan by a company is called Ruben, and the promoter was Blockchain Group.
Yeah.
It's a company, Australian company, but they have base also here in Shanghai.
Nice.
So they did this thing that is called LCO, listed company coin offering. So essentially it's the same of ICO, but the difference is you are a legit entity because you're listed. So to issue an ICO, you have to comply to all the regulation of the financial market.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's a real estate company, and they issue an ICO for the real estate platform, and they raised I think $10 million.
Then nothing happened. Did it affect like?
No, actually, when they said they were developing the project on blockchain, the price rose of 100%.
Nice.
No, not 100%, but let's say from 300 to 800.
Well, from STO, you can have your company goes to IPO. I mean, there's no any legal barrier.
No, absolutely. But even with the ICO, because usually what you do is you do it with a different entity. For example, also this company did with a different entity, not with the same entity that was listed. They created a new division, a new entity for this project. So essentially what you can do is the same with the IPO, the STO, and then going to IPO. And actually it's like, going through the Series A, B, D, C, D funding of venture capital, and then eventually going to IPO.
About dual issuance, you say a dual issuance, dual issuance ICO, STO then ICO. Then even in ICOs, we had some investors that they wanted equity share. Then also they wanted the coin itself. But now we see that companies they want the security token plus equity of the company, equity share of the company, and then they combine it. So now the company says, okay, we want this much of equity, this much of security. Why we don't have it as a equity token offering like ETO?
ETO, well, I think if the regulation for STO is still work in progress, the equity token regulation is even
it's heavier.
It's heavier, yes,
more.
because it's property.
Yeah.
So it's as the stock market. You invest in the stock market if you're like accredited investor, even on your bank profile. If you don't match some criteria, you cannot invest in certain type of stocks. So it's the same thing. The wider is the access to the public, the more difficult is to make the regulation.
But it says like SEC is saying that even those ICOs are going on in the market or those have been done, are they assume as like STOs.
Well,
and then legally this is going to be very easy for those.
Well, I'm telling you, what's happening now in US is they essentially say it's whatever is issued is a security. This is their approach.
Exactly.
I cannot blame them because some of the ICO, they were doing airdrop.
Yeah.
Airdrop is a kind of remuneration.
Yeah.
So it's like a dividend.
Yeah.
So it's security. That's the point. So a lot of companies that doing ICO, they should not market their ICO in US. They should not send even an email, because if they send an email and then one of the American investor invests, then they're gonna face the ACC.
Yeah.
So this is the situation. But actually, I understand, because they want to regulate the market, and they just assume everything is a security.
Okay. My last question for our viewers, that they want to know more what's going to happen for the whole market itself, because it was a very heavy crash, and it's assumed that some people, they are still positive that it's going up, maybe in 1 year or more. So what do you think?
Well, what I think is sometimes let's say the beer market helps to clean a little bit the sea.
Yeah.
So what I prospect for this year, let's say, is more professional are coming into the industry, more professional players. For sure, STO will be very it will have a great incidence in the markets. It will be also the year of the asset-based token, because already New York has been tokenized an asset, I think was an office building, and more projects are coming along. There are also different sophistication. There is a company in Estonia, Blockhive, that make ILP, initial loan procurement. Is like a kind of crypto bond.
Nice.
So there will be more product, more financial product as well, but also I think it will clean in terms of cryptocurrency change. So the one will last will be the good one, as it happened in the IT bubble, or in the searching engine industry, where there were Google, Yahoo, a lot of players,
and
then
sorry, you're all XYZ.
yes. So I want if you're asking, will Bitcoin hit XYZ, I won't tell you anything about that, because my personal opinion on Bitcoin is a store of value. Its power belongs to the safety of the blockchain.
Nice.
So if the people understand this, then they can use it as let's say a commodity, the same as gold, in the crypto world.
Very.
But what I think is going to be a positive year for the blockchain industry.
In terms of technology. And
in terms of technology, crypto, and also I'm not sure, but I think also countries like those countries that banned the ICO, or that made strict regulation, it will slowly embrace again the technology for sure, but also the issuance of security token, or whatever token will be more up for their legislation.
Nice.
Because it's a new way to make business. It's the new era. And I think it's everybody has to understand that we have, when we have the technological switch, it's better to embrace rather than fight.
To be against or so on. And I hope it happens that we can have a better and reliable market in terms of cryptocurrencies, or in terms of STOs and so on. Thank you so much, Marco. Really appreciate, and hope we can have you in other sessions and talking more. However, if we talk for hours, we need
it would be my pleasure to be hosted again by you, Mars, and thank you very much for hosting me today.
You're welcome. Hope to see you again here in our studio.
Absolutely.